Spheal, the clap Pokemon, Celio, the ball roll Pokemon, and Walrein, the ice break Pokemon. Welcome everyone, I'm Exceptional and I hope you are too. In this video, we will be seeing how quickly I can defeat Pokemon FireRed, including the Round 2 Elite Four, using only my starter, whom I will allow to evolve. Challenge rules are in the description. My reasoning for choosing Spheal this week is simple. I randomly had an incredible urge to play this adorable little rascal. Our starting stats aren't outstanding, only 290 in total, but when we evolve to Celio at level 32 and then Walrein at level 44, that increases to a solid 530. Walrein instantly made me think of Wally, so that's the nickname I'm going with today. Aw man, only Wall displays on the overlay. Dan! Actually, this is something on GameHook's side, not our code. I am running an outdated version of GameHook after all. After switching to the XML from YML, it was easier for us to just stick with what was working. Ever more projects for the future. As a water-ice type, we have an advantage and disadvantage against Brock. In this first playthrough, I made a beeline straight to him, thinking that our 4x super effective stab, or same type attack bonus water gun would be enough. I also made the mistake of not healing before starting the battle. Even so, we bring down Geodude fairly easily in 2 shots, leveling up twice upon defeating him. We're at just over half health when Onix hits the field. The water type is fantastic here, but the ice type is weak to rock. At our current health, we're within knockout range of Onix's stab Rock Tomb, and he ends the battle. So I was fairly confident about that battle, and didn't save before it. Well, I guess I have to rebattle Bugcatcher Sammy. I'll quickly defeat Bugcatcher Charlie as well, so that we're leveled all the way up to 10 before trying again. Level 10, though, may have been slightly excessive. We one-shot both of his Pokemon, so I'm thinking in the next run that I'll just beat up Camper Liam in the gym here. That's our first badge in the bag. Moving through Mount Moon, I've decided to defeat an additional 2 trainers along the way. We don't evolve until level 32 after all, and our base stat total isn't exactly inspiring when I think about facing Pokemon in the upcoming section like Pidgeotto, Starmie, Ivysaur, Raichu. We're a part of the medium slow growth rate, ironically being one of the faster ones to start with. At the end of the cave, I make sure to grab the Helix fossil, because Blue, you know how it goes at this point. I wasn't feeling fantastic about Misty. Even with us resisting her water moves, I was leery of trying that battle, attempting Rival 2 first instead. Rival 2, though, loves Sand Attack from Pidgeotto and Sleep from Bulbasaur. In this battle, he actually goes for Poison Powder, and I thought to myself, wow, first try Rival 2? Not after a bunch of Sand Attacks. We missed too many times, getting taken out by a quick attack after too much poison damage. I reset again, deciding to head back to Misty's gym instead. I defeat the 2 trainers in there, leveling up to 20 before starting the battle. I have my Persimberry from Route 4 equipped, and it's time for me to discuss the best thing that this Pokemon has going for it. We've explored Defense Curl rollout strategies in the past, and Wally's Ice Ball has the same mechanic. At 90% accuracy, using Ice Ball will hit with a base power that doubles with each consecutive hit up to 5 turns. It starts at 30 and ends at 480 base power. Using Defense Curl first doubles that. Add in Stab, and we're looking at 90 to 1440. Let the fun begin. Our resistance to water allows us to tank a bunch of hits as our Ice Ball gathers power. Then once Starmie hits the field, we hit, although resisted, for maximum power, getting the one-shot. Well, that was easier than I anticipated. Before popping back into the rival battle, I used TM3 that we just got from Misty to teach Water Pulse to Wally. I was hoping that would give us a small edge, but we can't 2-shot Pidgeotto, getting exposed to a bunch of Sand Attacks. I'm noticing that when I use a single Defense Curl, the AI seems to go absolutely wild with them. What's with that? That may have been a little bit of a circumstantial thing to pick up on, but either way, when I stopped using Defense Curl and went straight for Ice Ball, also managing to connect with them, we see a different battle. 2 hits take out Pidgeotto, then a third for Bulbasaur after he misses Sleep Powder. One thing I haven't complained about yet is Spheal's speed. Bulbasaur only has 23, but ours is worse than that. I mean, we are just a little beach ball after all. Gosh, this thing is so stinkin' cute. Next on the SSN, I want to do a little bit of item collection. I'm grabbing TM44 Rest from the lower deck and of course the berries from the main deck. We're then ready to face the rival again, but this time we're at a proportionally higher level. It helps, sure, because we now speed tie Bulbasaur. Oh wait, that was last battle. Ivysaur now has 31 speed, putting us to sleep, and it's curtains from there. I was already wiping to the rival, so I have a Chesto Berry equipped in the next battle. The rival decides to go for Leech Seed this time instead. Sure. The rest of the battle after that isn't much to worry about. Our next gym leader is Lieutenant Surge, and I don't feel great about checking him out right now. I polish off the rival, and I head to the third gym. While clearing the trash can puzzle, I get caught by Engineer Bailey though. After seeing what his Magnemite's Thundershocks are doing to me, I'm out of here. We can come back later. Our low speed continues to have consequences through the next route. Not enough to cost any significant slowdowns, but with 3 trainers left to battle still, I'd run out of healing items. We're seeing the very last battle in Rock Tunnel right now, and I have no idea how I didn't get another reset here. Pidgey leaves us at 2 HP, but we've leveled up to 32. This allows Wally to finally evolve into our second form, Celio. Spheal has been steadily dropping off more and more as we've been progressing. It feels really good to not be a first stage Pokemon anymore. On the way through the tunnel, I did visit the tutor teaching Rock Slide over Body Slam. My plan was to keep Wally as a mixed attacker, mostly because of a singular trainer that we're going to encounter later. We'll get to that though, as right now, particularly with those few extra stats under our belt, we're cruising. The water typing is just so good at these games. With that said though, we're looking at 2 gyms that we have a weakness to, Surge with Electric and Erica with Grass. I finish off the Rocket Hideout, and decided to dip my toes into Erica's gym. Let's just check it out quickly though. But I'm out of healing items again, and this very first Bulbasaur that we encounter decides to make Wally go away after I miss, and then miss the one-shot. Right, with the extra levels, let's go try out Sparky. Water Pulse would have honestly done a ton of work in this battle for us, but instead I decided to go with Ice Ball, taking down Voltorb in 2 while growing in power. Pikachu falls to the next, also activating our Cherry Berry with Static. His Ace Raichu is last, outspeeding and setting up Double Team with our 4th turn Ice Ball connecting for the win. Sweet! More Static. More healing items, please. Here we go. This Rival 4 battle in Pokemon Tower was the type of control that I was hoping to achieve in this run. I set up 1 Defense Curl turn 1, and then Ice Ball rolls his 5 Pokemon, each being brought down by a progressively more powerful hit. Using a 90% accurate move, this is about as good as things get. Speaking of good times, I hope everyone out there is having a fantastic holiday season if you participate in it. I don't know about you, but I'm sure ready to kick back with a stiff cup of eggnog, including a splash of Grandpa's medicine. I can then follow the Rocket plotline into Silphco, where I'm going to be doing some more item collection. I'm not entirely sure how this endgame is going to play out quite yet, and I felt like gathering as many resources to help us out was the right move. I am 100% going to be buying some Carbos, even though once we're fully evolved, we do have a respectable 65 base speed. We have dealt with worse. I was hoping to test my luck against Rival 5 while we were here, but the problem lies in Venusaur outspeeding us again. In this battle, he has 76 speed compared to our 59. We're a ways from outspeeding, with Stab's super effective Razor Leaf shutting us down. I tried once more, failing again, so I headed back to Celadon to try and redeem myself in Erica's gym. The thing with this run, with this particular line, is that if you look at their sprites, you could imagine that it would be quite difficult for Wally to have his head up his butt. That doesn't say much for his trainer though. I decided that in Erica's battle, where we have a type disadvantage, I was fine not using a Cherry Berry. It's like a Christmas miracle as our Ice Balls hit through every single time, ending the battle paralyzed at 5 hit points. No wonder Wally was the only one to survive so long on Earth. He's resilient. On the way out of town, I make sure to stop and visit the Celadon department store. It's time to sell everything that we don't need to buy those vitamins. I choose to max out our special attack first with calciums, then invest our remaining money into speed with Carbos. Despite having a slower runner today, I decided against getting the Quick Claw in the Safari Zone. I feel like we're not going to need it, even though it might have been handy to grab. Either way, we collect Surf from the secret house, preparing to face Koga next. I mentioned in my recent stream how I'm very much starting to believe that a Pokemon that learns Surf is almost automatically handed at least 3 badges in this last section of the game. Stab Surf deletes his coughing right away, avoiding Smokescreen, but against Muck it seems that our accuracy is still a problem. For the life of me, I cannot land a hit, and when we finally do, Koga just heals. Must be nice. I reset again against him in much the same way. We seem to be lacking damage, but we're so close to evolving again. Koga's gym has decently dense experience, so give me one quick second here. And we've leveled to 44, now evolving into our final form, Walrein. Walrein, Wall-E, yeah? Our stats increased by a further 20 across the board. We've dialed back on cuteness, that's for sure, but let's see if the trade for power is worth it. Alright, so as I set up Defense Curl and go for Ice Ball again, I feel it can be said that simply retrying Koga until we got better luck with Ice Ball hitting would have also solved the battle. I love considering all of these things as I run the game. It's great being able to find small little tricks that I can use in the future, but sometimes luck and levels are all that you need. Simple, effective. It's back to Silphco to try Rival 5 again. Now that we're evolved and have 91 speed, we're way faster. I should note that I could have surfed down to Cinnabar Island instead, but I felt secure in trying this battle again. Oftentimes I discount Blaine as a routing option before Rival 5 because I don't want to catch a Pokemon to surf with. Thank you to Shooting Stardust 97 for pointing out that I could grab the Gift Eevee and evolve it with a Water Stone as an alternative. Thank you to everybody for pointing things like this out to me and helping me to become a better player. Rival 5 was no problem this time, making our next stop Sabrina. Usually I talk about how Sabrina's psychic types are physically frail, yada yada, but today I'm gonna make you all sick of another strategy. I use Defense Curl and Ice Ball. We hit, so we win. Ice Ball really seems like a cure-all for our problems, but there's that trainer that I mentioned before that I'm a little bit worried about still. Sabrina falls, leaving us with 2 badges to collect. Honestly, I struggled a bit with how to route Wall-E. We have some definite strengths, but there are some problems that we're going to be facing in the league. I've alluded to her twice now, but Lorelei is actually quite an issue. Even Bruno's fighting types will be hitting us for super effective damage, adding more threat. Against my better judgment at the time, I elected to skip the trainers in Blaine's gym, jumping straight to his battle next. That thing I said about Surf and the latter gyms being almost free? Well, I'll raise you those Surfs and add in the Stab modifier, and even with that modest 65 base speed, we're able to move first and one-shot all of Blaine's Pokemon. Wait, modest? I haven't discussed our nature! Because of my concerns for later in the run and thinking about keeping Wall-E as a mixed attacker, it led me to choose a bashful nature, which is neutral. I mean, less now so that we're a Walrein, but come on, let's add some rosy cheeks to Spheal and melt our hearts for a second. Aww. Anyway, focusing back on the run, because I have a round 2 finish in mind, I always say yes to helping Bill in the Sevi Islands when he approaches you after defeating Blaine. I clear it and then make a beeline again to challenge our final gym leader. As Wall-E continues to reinforce my point about Stab Surf being awesome, let's review how we're doing so far. You may have noticed several more resets that have accumulated throughout the run. I haven't shown all of them because honestly, most of them are just taking chances that I didn't need to. Being so low on healing items definitely cost me time, so that's an adjustment that I'll make for the next run. With that said, Wall-E is about to finish the gym challenge in just over an hour, so we are moving at quite a fair pace. Giovanni falls and we're ready to face one final challenge before the leagues. Experience from my previous runs has taught me that the Venusaur on this team has 105 speed. Currently, we have 106. That worked out beautifully. It seems that in these rival battles, so long as we outspeed the Venusaur and don't miss too many times, we have a pretty easy time. Just ignore that I don't have an 8th badge right now. It'll pop up in just a second. That one is nobody's fault but my own. Rival 6 falls. In this final push before the league, my strategy is to, for the most part, rely on the raw power of Stab Surf and Ice Balls to get us through. Defense Curl may not be an offensive boosting move, but being able to set up definitely opens a few options. Wall-E has no further preparations before the league, so let's jump right in. Lorelei is pretty much the entire reason that I kept Wall-E as a mixed attacker. The reason is that I simply cannot reliably use Ice Ball or Surf in this battle. Her mostly water and ice types quad resist our ice moves, with Dugong having that again because of Thick Fat. Lapras has water absorb, so you can see why I want to go with Rock Slide here. I switched back to Ice Ball just to see what would happen, and we get so lucky. Jinx misses Lovely Kiss, and we get a crit in the final turn against Lapras. With Wally holding on by a thread, once again, we claim our first league victory. We're off to a lucky start, but Bruno has something to say about that. I want to keep my speed intact if I can, taking out his lead Onix with Stab 4x super effective Surf. The same trick doesn't go so well against Hitmonchan, having our speed lowered and being treated to a Stab super effective Sky Uppercut, taking us below half. Oh, and then a second one before Hitmonlee hits the field and finishes the job. I wiped 5 more times here, playing with a few ideas, but it's when I started playing more with defense curls that I was finding more success. Who cares about guarding your speed if they simply can't hurt as much? Alright, so from this battle to the last one you just watched, there isn't really much difference, right? I mean, we're still only making it to Hitmonlee. If, however, I drop a few rare candies into Wally, leveling up to 58 over the next damage rounding threshold, and I switch to trying to build up a good Ice Ball chain, things go better. Surf just wasn't dealing enough damage, and having the higher risk, higher reward outcome with Ice Ball did the trick. We just needed that little bit of an extra edge. Awesome, Agatha is next. Agatha's team of ghosts are all, of course, the poison type, which is what gives us the most problems. Our lead Gengar seems dead set on using Toxic against our bulky Icebreaker Walrus, which, without a Pecha or Lumberry, results in a quick downfall for Wally. I wiped twice in this way before switching mindsets. I've now taught Rest over Rock Slide. I did just say the magic words after all, our bulky Icebreaker Walrus. Rest complements Bulk beautifully, and with Poison being our biggest problem in this battle, Rest eliminates it. The ever-bemused with its own shenanigans RNG, though, decided that in this battle, none of that was necessary, instead going for confusion, but then we get through the battle without needing to rest at all. Oh, Agatha, why you gotta be like that? Next is the Dragon Master Lance. At the risk of getting the stale moves modifier for my smash score, I use Defense Curl and Ice Ball. It's absolutely fantastic as a special attacker being hit by Intimidate after Intimidate and simply not caring. Our initial Ice Ball chain actually carries us all the way to his second Dragonair. We're quite beat up, so I use Rest healing to full. That's gotta be discouraging, eh, Lance? An ice move, really any ice move that deals damage darn near, is all it takes to best Lance in round 1. Well, most of the time. We're now ready to face the champion. I'm not entirely sure on the timing of these voiceovers, but I'm pretty sure it's been more than 30 seconds, so allow me to once again complain about Sand Attack. I'm sticking with the same strategy, but that might not be the answer here. We get tagged by Sand Attack and promptly miss so many times that Rhydon takes us out from almost full. 4 resets, and around 3 minutes later, I've continued playing around with how this battle works. I've used 3 more rare candies, leveling up to 63 again over a damage rounding threshold. It seems that if I'm setting up one defense curl, the AI just goes nuts, peppering Wally with 3 sand attacks before falling. Ugh, miss, and some more missing, and we end up falling to Venusaur once again. In the next attempt, though, Pidgeot simply decides he doesn't want a sand attack this time, so I set up Defense Curl, and please observe as Ice Ball melts his team. I was getting a little worried near the end of the battle, but we did have the option to rest. I also had a Chesto Berry equipped, just in case we needed that rest. Sometimes the RNG giveth, sometimes it taketh away. So I feel somewhat confident in saying that most of the victories in that league were luck-based. If only there was a move that increased a solo Pokemon's consistency. Wally clocks in with a round 1 time of 1 hour, 19 minutes, and 28 seconds at level 64 with 30 resets. This took 4 hours and 2 minutes of game time. Our meaty mass of malleable mountain, Wally, is definitely going to heavily benefit from picking up leftovers in between the leagues. I don't really have anything to discuss clearing through all of the rocket fodder unlocking round 2. Along with some team and moveset changes, all Pokemon have been powered up by around 12 levels. Lorelei leads the charge. A problem in chasing the Round 2 League is that oftentimes if you had problems with a trainer in Round 1, that problem still exists in Round 2, only worse. In Round 1, remember how I replaced Rock Slide with Rest, so we no longer have access to that nice juicy physical option. How does Lorelei's battle go with only ice and water moves? Well, not super as it turns out. I have the footage on like super turbo right now, and I mean, we're surviving, but unfortunately so is she. That's gonna be a wipe. Multiple resets later, and it was time to leave the league. I simply need more damage. Stop 1 is going to be going south of Lavender Town, where I'll be grabbing TM27 Return. Okay, and then I fly down to Fuchsia. Regular viewers of the channel are going to be really confused here, because why would I return here if not for Substitute? Well, I'm going to be visiting the Move Deleter. HM moves can't be deleted by other means, so I'm deleting Surf in favor of Return. Surf, after all, is the easiest move to reteach. Alright, let's jump right back into that Lorelei battle. Return is, well, it's working better than Ice Ball was. Obviously, we're still seriously lacking some damage output here, even having leveled up to 70, but we're able to work through her team much more effectively. So far. Remember, there have been some moveset changes too. Lapras gets their first sniff of Wally, summoning thunder from the sky and ending another promising attempt. I continue resetting, using the last of my rare candies and leveling up to 72. That's it, folks. I really hope that I don't have to cheat here. I'm trying a new strategy after defeating Dugong, and I set up all the way to +6 against Piloswine. This is to try and defeat Piloswine while having as much health as possible, tanking Earthquakes and then resting to full. Return is lacking the damage output, so I use Ice Ball, stacking 2 turns against Pilo. Lapras is then out, missing 2 Thunders, while turns 3, 4, and 5 of Ice Ball all connect, bringing down her ace. That is still a problem for next run. But with nobody left but Cloyster and Jinx, who can't hit a Lovely Kiss to save her life, we can claim the victory this time. Rough. That's how that feels. The resets don't stop there either. I ended up cutting this first Bruno attempt early after he crits with an Iron Tail and gets a defense drop very early. Yeah, I'm just going to accept my fate in that one. Just like in round 1 though, I can apply the same strategy. Steelix is by far less threatening to set up against than say Hitmonchan, who will come up next. I grab my +6, and with the addition of leftovers healing us for 1/16 of our max HP every turn, it's no wonder that Bruno's boys can't get much else done against us. I mean, if Crossdrop had crit, we'd be having a different discussion, but Wally cleans up the glorified hiker. Between battles, it was time to replace Return with Surf, once again restoring balance to the universe. It was fun while it lasted, Return. We're back to facing a speed issue in this battle though. I came in ill-prepared, but even so, her lead Gengar with 173 speed can dance around us, putting us to sleep first and ending our first attempt very quickly. Jumping back in, I eventually have a revelation that this Gengar is just going to ruin my day every time, so I switch to Surf to eliminate that threat. Misdreavus is next, also falling to 2 Surfs, but then it's Arbok that I decide to make my shift in strategy again. I set up to +6 with Defense Curls again. Why? Only her ace Gengar knows a non-physical move to threaten us with from this point. This felt like the safe option. I defeat Arbok with almost full health, then tanking that Thunderbolt from her ace Gengar before defeating it. Crobat is last, and we're pretty beat up, but at +6 defense, Crobat's stab Sludge Bomb bounces off a Wally, and we finish the battle. Easy! Let's see what Lance has been up to. The thing is, I can pretty much apply the same strategy again. An interesting note in this round 2 league is the staggering number of physical attacks in it. Sure, there are some great special attackers too, but I'm often complaining about the absurd number of Earthquakes in round 2. Wally loves Earthquakes. After a few defense curls, that is. His lead Gyarados will always paralyze us, but that's fine as we can rest it off. I set up a bit going for Ice Ball when I start feeling threatened. Ice Ball does have a flaw though. If you continue to connect with hits, you are locked in, and we're locked in all the way until his Ace Dragonite brings us down. This time, I got rid of Gyarados as quickly as possible, only having set up 1 defense curl. Aerodactyl's best move against us is Stab Ancient Power, but it only has 5 power points. It's a little bit dangerous, but while singing I Am the Walrus by the Beatles and absolutely killing the mood, we stall out and reduce Aerodactyl's PP to nothing. We're officially in control, then sending his remaining team members packing with more well-placed ice balls. I don't think I've considered Defense Curl useful once until today. Let's take on that round 2 champion. I was hoping to lean into the same type of strategy here. His lead Heracross is going to be an all-physical opponent, so maybe I can set up our defense effectively enough here? It's unfortunate, but Heracross also knows Rock Tomb, so our speed will be trashed. We'll have to be able to survive the hits. Critical hits, though, will cut through our setup, and yeah, we're not surviving that Megahorn. I'll put the footage on turbo again, as this time we see a successful setup against Heracross, all the way up to +6, but I'm not sure how necessary +6 was. I'll have to figure that out in testing. In this battle though, we set up, rest, and we're ready to do some damage. We crit with Ice Ball bringing down Hera, then with an effective power of 180, we level Tyranitar. The next super effective hit at 720 power makes Venusaur go away, with the fourth also 720 power neutral hit taking down Alakazam. Gyarados is out, setting up a DD, while our 5th turn Ice Ball hits for an effective power of 1440. Bye-bye Gyarados. We have a lonely Arcanine left, but he is in the sunshine. Overheat hits for fairly big damage, taking us to about half but reducing his special attack by 2 stages, while Surf also deals half. I'm feeling good about this one. Goodbye, Arcanine. I'm definitely gonna have to do some testing here, but I'm thinking that a certain move might just make these leagues significantly more consistent in the second playthrough. You probably already know the one. Wall-E clocks in with a round 2 time of 1 hour, 50 minutes, and 46 seconds at level 76 with 42 resets. This took 5 hours and 24 minutes of game time. In this second playthrough, I'll only be covering things that changed or that I found interesting while playing. The Spheal line was an interesting one to try and optimize, and I've leaned more heavily into a trick we figured out in the first playthrough. I've decided to go with a timid nature this time, increasing speed while decreasing attack. For the number of use cases for physical moves, I feel that the speed is far more valuable. This time I make a beeline straight for Pewter City again, but defeat Camper Liam for a super easy 402 experience. This levels us up to 10 before Brock, and it's no shock that we win that one-shotting both of his team members. Our overall rough time against the rival last time before evolving has prompted me to grab a little bit more experience in Mount Moon again. I defeat the optional Last Miriam and Hiker Marcos on the way through. We're about to see just how mean the rival can be. On the other side of the cave, I make sure to grab the Helix Fossil. Alright, sweet, got the shot. Now let's use an antidote before Spheal faints and we're sent back to Pallet Town. I defeat one more optional trainer in Misty's gym, leveling up to 20 before taking her on. Alright, so we've all made comments about how sometimes 90% accuracy feels like 10%. There are tons of instances of that in this second playthrough. But that rival. Misty falls, let's go face Rival 2. We discovered last run that Ice Ball wins battles. Pidgeotto seems to love Sand Attack when I set up with Defense Curl, so I just go for it instead. 2 hits for Pidgeotto with a 3rd turn Ice Ball connecting and bringing down Bulbasaur. That timid nature has allowed us to just barely outspeed him, making this battle much easier. I had you going there. Rival 2 was a breeze, but let's jump ahead to Rival 3. This was a difficult part for me to decide what to do. Part of doing these second playthroughs is because I really want to see just what a Pokemon is capable of achieving, but in the interest of keeping things fair, I very rarely replay second runs due to bad luck. What you're about to witness, though, I truly wrestled with. I am so gutted by how I played this one. Ivysaur has a speed of 31, and we currently have 30. A tiny touch of training, and this could have all been avoided. But let's talk about everything that went wrong here. I have a Chesto on to avoid sleep, but I noticed something here that I wasn't aware of before. It makes sense, but only kind of? I have a 2-chain rollout coming into Ivysaur, but Ivysaur outspeeds, putting us to sleep, activating our Chesto Berry. I am not able to choose a move here with our Ice Ball chain continuing, but the damage of it has been reset, only doing around 1/3 to Ivysaur. I'm fine with sleeping resetting the chain, but why, if that's the case, could I not select a new move? Let me know about that one in the comments if you know what's going on. In the next attempt, I make it to his last Pokemon Kadabra, but we're poisoned. He lands a Disable, interrupting our Ice Ball chain as more poison damage ticks. I switch to Body Slam, which by the way is a range here, missing it but getting the paralysis. Kadabra is fully paralyzed, but then the poison damage ends us for a third reset. In the next, we sleep so long that Ivysaur brings us down again. Next, I make it past Ivysaur with our accuracy intact, but we're fairly beat up. Raticate Hyper Fangs, then Kadabra confuses, sealing the deal again. 8 resets here. 8. Most, I feel, because of a single speed point. What was I thinking? I promise that over the Christmas break, I'm going to be resting and refocusing again because to me, this just felt sloppy. Granted, we had a couple instances of bad luck, but that's the entire point of routing, to minimize our opponent's opportunities to do this to us. In the end, I felt like it was the correct choice to leave it in. This is, after all, just a part of the Spheal experience. We haven't cleared many extra trainers, but we're still only a first stage Pokemon until level 32. The thing that gutted me the most, though, was our Body Slam getting the one-shot against Kadabra this time. That was attempt 3 that we missed that one, by the way. Okay, enough flagellating, let's carry on with the run. I skip Surge for the moment, again heading through Rock Tunnel. Near the exit, Spheal evolves into Celio. We, just evolved by the way, with 50 speed, are already outspeeding rival 4's Ivysaur in Pokemon Tower. Ugh, silly egg. I skipped Rock Slide this time, but it has a part to play later. Body Slam is gonna do just great for the time being. I can't help but gush a little bit more about Ice Ball here. Because it locks you in and requires 0 input until the chain is interrupted, I can just click A and completely zone out into thoughts of Christmas baking while Celio does all the work. That's all for the cost of a single power point, by the way. Fantastic. I clear out the rockets, then head back to Vermilion to defeat Lieutenant Surge. Outspeeding rival 4 makes an easy victory. Oh, hold that thought. He just had to throw one more reset at me because I was out of Chesto Berries at the moment and I just kept missing. 90% accuracy, plus or minus 80% more like. When we hit, we win, targeting Silphco next. Here we have what I'd consider to be the second major flaw of this second playthrough. I know I'm being critical here, but I have to be. I'm not really sure what all went wrong when I was playing this. This holiday season's got my eggs all scrambled, that's for sure. I decided to once again collect all of the items in Silph, but at the end of the run, we end off with a fair chunk of change. More than is justified when considering the extra 2 minutes that I put into Silphco here. This is the last thing that I really found egregious, but I had to be honest about them. I quickly finish off that item collection, leaving Silph and heading back to Celadon. I can then defeat Erica at full health, Go-Go Cherry Berry, then pivot south to Fuchsia, where in Koga's gym we evolve into Walrein. Not by defeating extra trainers this time, I was smarter. In Celadon I bought vitamins focusing solely on special attack and speed again. Now in our final form, let's keep kicking some goals. Koga falls to Stab Surf, and then back in Silph against Rival 5, the least threatening Alakazam in history decides to get a little cheeky. I'll note too that now that we're fully evolved, our speed, currently at 106, outspeeds Rival 6's Venusaur at 105. I decided to go for Body Slam, not accounting for the 2 Intimidates that we've taken. What follows are too many turns of the battle slowly getting worse for us until I finally figure out Surf and win. I defeat Sabrina, and then absolutely rip through Blaine with more Stab Surf after defeating all of the trainers in his gym. Then, like a flash, we're in Giovanni's gym where I'm gonna show him a little disrespect. That bit of training in Blaine's gym gave us some additional speed EVs and accounts for the last bit of grinding that we needed to do. I didn't bother saving, I didn't bother healing. Stab Surfs bring down Giovanni, completing the gym challenge in under an hour this time. Rival 6 falls, and we're ready for one final stop. We're going to be flying back to Fuchsia City to update our moveset a little. Just like in round 2 last run, I'm going to be deleting Surf for the Lorelei battle. Freeing up that space in our moveset sounds like an absolutely lovely place to stick down, oh yeah, Substitute. Substrats, best strats. Substitute sacrifices a quarter of your max HP to put up a decoy with health equivalent to what was sacrificed. The decoy absorbs damage, but more importantly, status conditions from our opponents. One of our biggest struggles in round 2 was having our speed trashed, and Substitute allows us to guard it, requiring less defense curls set up. Let's check out the league. Before starting the league, I used 5 rare candies, leveling up to 60 over 2 damage rounding thresholds. This puts Dugong in a slightly less favorable range for body slams, but the reason I chose it over Return was for the 30% chance to paralyze. In hindsight, a 3-shot here may have been better. We resist everything the Cloyster can throw at us, so I set up a decoy for the upcoming Pokemon. I then set up a single defense curl and start going for Ice Balls. More or less, we're just hoping to hit enough times in a row to win. The decoy protects us from Yawns from Slowbro, and if the decoy survives until Jinx, it protects from Lovely Kiss and Attract as well. Heck, it even helps protect against Lapras's Confuse Rays, but by that point in the battle, it's generally just better to go for the damage. Not enough this time, as Lorelei takes us down. We don't need to watch the whole battle again, this time starting against Lapras with 69 health. Nice. I felt like Body Slam here was necessary because of Dugong's Thick Fat. We have the same ability, reducing all fire and ice damage by half. Using the quad-resisted Ice Ball against Dugong, halved by Thick Fat, presented too much of a problem. It's another super tight battle, but with Walrein clinging on with 4 HP, we take the victory. The rest of this Round 1 League, I'm just gonna supercut. We'll be seeing more impactful versions of the same battles in Round 2. Substitute and our speed allow us to only set up 1 defense curl, wiping out Bruno, and then against Agatha, a turn 1 decoy blocks all of her messiness, with a Citrus Berry getting us through the Lance battle more consistently. That's it, let's check out that Round 1 champion. Turn 1, I start by leading off with Substitute. This immediately blocks a sand attack from landing, keeping our accuracy intact. Glorious. This Round 1 battle actually required very little thought once I had my accuracy preserved. After setting up a single defense curl purely for the benefits of Ice Ball, I start hitting Ice Balls until we win. Our decoy gets broken by a critical Psychic from Alakazam, but that's all there is to this battle. The Round 1 champion has fallen. I feel like substrats may not have been absolutely necessary for Round 1, though it did make things feel much smoother. Round 2, though, it makes a big difference. Walrein clocks in with a Round 1 time of 1 hour, 6 minutes, and 40 seconds at level 64 with 10 resets. This took 3 hours and 52 minutes of game time. In between leagues, I can note that in the first run, I did in fact pick up the Nevermelt Ice from the cave on 4 Island. I didn't end up equipping it at all though. Leftovers on a Pokemon like Walrein is just too good. After defeating the Rockets and unlocking Round 2, it's time to once again delete Surf from our moveset. This time I'm going to be teaching Rock Slide instead. Round 2, after all, is more threatening, so a more threatening response seemed appropriate. I did not go with a hidden power typing in this run, but there was a good argument for both HP Electric and HP Rock. I'm my own worst critic sometimes, but it's all in the interest of being a better player. With Rock Slide added, it's time to take on that Round 2 league. Before starting the battle, I used our remaining rare candies, 7 in total, leveling up to 75. Even with our minus attack nature, level 75 gives us a consistent 2-shot against our lead Dugong with Rock Slide. Against Piloswine, I get a little cheeky again. I start setting up defense curls, tanking his physical moves more and more effectively. I could stall here longer for more recovery, but I felt like we were in a good spot. I set up a decoy and start my Ice Ball chain. I take out Piloswine with 2 hits, and then this decoy gives us 1 free shot from Lapras's Thunder, with our 3rd Ice Ball hitting for around a quarter. As long as we hit, we should be good. If I had missed here breaking the chain, I would have pivoted to using Rock Slides to bring down Lapras. Awesome! The most important thing against Cloyster was getting a new decoy back up. I could stall here again to recover, but I didn't feel it was necessary. Getting that decoy up for Jinx and setting up a new chain finishes Cloyster and then Jinx. Once again, if the chain had broken, I would have finished with Rock Slide. That was a fun one to solve. Bruno is next. I taught Surf back over Rock Slide before starting the battle. The goal against Steelix here is to set up to +3 with our speed intact behind decoys. Steelix gets 2 crits in a row, so our decoys kept getting knocked out. Finally, I'm able to get a foothold, but I'm feeling uneasy at only +2, knocking him out with Surf. I start Ice Balling against Hitmonchan with him breaking our decoy, but we hit true for the rest of the battle. Setting up to +3 was a precaution for if our chain had been broken, but honestly, Bruno isn't too bad as long as we don't miss too many times. Let's check out Agatha. As I mentioned in the last league, Substitute blocks a lot of Agatha's nonsense. In round 2 though, she's been given a whole lot of TM29, so her team is loaded with Psychics. The early goal is to take out the first 2 ghosts, as Gengar can be a nightmare to deal with if we get put to sleep, and Misdreavus knows Thunderbolt. Against Arbok, I can re-establish my position, setting up defense curls and a new decoy. The decoy does not survive the encounter against Arbok, as after many misses due to double team, we took a bit too much damage. Oh well. As long as Gengar doesn't paralyze us, we're good. We could have easily even taken a critical hit there as well. Crobat is all physical, hoping to mess us up with confusion. Not today, buddy, as we hit through, ending the battle. The last Elite Four member is Lance. Round 2 Lance has a fatal flaw that I have exploited many times in the past. Setting up a decoy turn 1 will pretty much fry his AI. Gyarados is going to continue trying to paralyze our decoy while we can get away with pretty much anything. All that anything is simply setting up one defense curl, then ice balling it up. But hey, we saw this battle with rest instead of substitute. We were fine before, we're just better with substrats. They are, after all, best strats. We dispatch of Lance quickly with lots of ice moves for his dragons. We have one final challenge ahead, the round 2 champion. In this run with Defense Curl, it's really redefined my opinion of setting up defensively in a solo run. Sure, it isn't the fastest way through a battle, but it is super consistent. Heracross is all physical, and even though he seems to be feeling a little horny today, going for 2 Mega Horns and nuking our decoys, we managed to get a foothold and start setting up. In this battle, I want to go all the way to +6 before starting to chain Ice Balls. The reason for +6 is to allow a little bit of recovery against Heracross while building in safety for later in the battle. Our chain holds steady, breaking through Tyranitar and Venusaur, with it ending at Alakazam. I get a new one rolling while Alakazam breaks our decoy with another critical Psychic, but we're rolling again and the chain is building. +6 was mostly for Gyarados, to be honest. If we'd missed a couple of times and lost our chain, Gyarados became a serious problem without the setup. Our chain holds though, bringing him down and Arcanine in the back. No worries at all. Overall, I'd say that I'm happy with this run. There are some definite opportunities for improvement, but I still feel like this was a solid playthrough. Walrein clocks in with a round 2 time of 1 hour, 25 minutes, and 41 seconds at level 78 with 11 resets. This took 5 hours and 4 minutes of game time. Let's take a quick look at how much time we were able to save between runs. Right away, we were able to start saving time simply by knowing exactly what we needed for Brock. Having a plan for Misty, then outspeeding Rival 2 kept us gaining time. Despite the 8 out of 11 total resets being against Rival 3, we continued making up time through the gym challenge. There's a small dip at Blaine's badge because of that touch of extra grinding that we had to do. This culminates in nearly 13 minutes of save time at the end of round 1, with a total time save of 25 minutes and 5 seconds in round 2, 2 levels higher with 31 less resets. If I hadn't played this like a complete and total muppet, I feel like a 1 hour, 20 minute completion would have been in the cards. On the tier list, this places Walrein just behind Machamp. I've had a lot of great feedback about the new graphic, and I'll be implementing some changes soon. In fact, there are a lot of tweaks that I want to make to the overlay, tier list graphic, thumbnails, gym leader intros, pretty much everything. I want to tackle these early in the new year, so keep an eye out for those. I want to extend a special thank you to those of you generous enough to support the channel financially. You keep me motivated to continue bringing the best possible content that I can to everyone out there. From the bottom of my shell, thank you so much. With a special thank you this week to Cypher Mobius, Chris Gwynn, and Philip Farrell for your incredible generosity during the last stream. Speaking of giving, 'tis the season. This is my last video before Christmas Day on the 25th. If you participate in them, let me wish everyone out there happy holidays and a Merry Christmas. I hope you're all able to take a moment to appreciate the family, community, and love in all of your lives. Or at least kick back with some adult eggnog while watching your favorite Christmas movie. I feel like Die Hard is on the roster this year. What are your favorite movies to watch during the holidays? Let me know in the comments. While you're there, if you feel like I've earned it, consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel. As the year end approaches, I don't think I'm hitting my goal of 5,000 subs, but hey, what a wild year we've had. Thank you everyone for being a part of this journey. I have one more main video and a little something extra planned for next week, so I have a little bit more work to do. While I get started on that, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays everyone. Much love, take care.